Hey there, I'm Ivana and you're listening to Mind Matters. Welcome to Season 4, The Brain on Desire. This season, I am digging into the cognitive forces fueling our cravings, from the way we love to the luxuries we chase. In each episode, I'll share science-backed insights and real-life stories to help you understand your deepest drives. Ready to find out why we want what we want? Hello and welcome back to Mind Matters, where I am exploring the many faces and facets of desire. I'm your host, Ivana, currently a candidate for Master's in Clinical Psychology. I have a special fascination for how our inner worlds drive our outer behaviors. In this season specifically, I will look at the forces that fuel our wants and wishes, from romantic desire to our longing for status or luxury, to the subtle, even hidden needs that shape our decisions. In today's episode, I'm going deep into the heart of romantic connections and talking about why some of us keep finding ourselves attracted to the same wrong type, or why that spark of desire sometimes blinds us to red flags. I'll be talking about the chemical love cocktail, how our early attachments influence our adult relationships, and the role of psychological biases. Remember those from Season 3. But first, a quick personal story to set the scene. I had a friend, let's call her Lucy, who had a knack for falling for the bad boy. If you can imagine the classic type, tattoos, rebellious vibe, the whole 9 yards, that was Lucy's type. And while her relationships always started out with intense passion, they often ended in heartbreak, drama, or both. But Lucy kept going back for more. She'd say, "I just can't help who I'm attracted to." Sound familiar? Maybe you have a friend just like Lucy, or maybe you are Lucy. So what are the reasons behind these magnetic pulls in romantic life? I'll look at it from a psychological angle, attachment theory, neurochemistry, and specific cognitive biases that feed our illusions in the early stages of love. By the end, you'll have some new lenses to examine your own desires, plus a few practical tools to help you navigate the sometimes turbulent waters of romantic attraction. So, whether you're driving through the picturesque winding roads of Luxembourg countryside, sipping a coffee in your cozy apartment in Berlin, or tuning in from halfway around the world, get comfortable and let's talk about the heart, the mind, and the mysteries of attraction and attachment. Let's start with the chemical cocktail of love that has been already covered so many times in pop psychology. So I begin with what might be the biggest myth buster in love. As magical and indescribable as attraction may feel, it also has a very real biological basis. When we meet someone who captivates us, a specific set of chemicals begin to surge in our brains. And you might have heard about them: dopamine, oxytocin, vasopressin, norepinephrine, and yes, even a little bit of adrenaline. I will give you some quick notes on each of them. Dopamine, often called the reward hormone. It lights up the pleasure centers of our brain. When that special someone texts you, that jolt of excitement you feel, that's dopamine saying, "Keep this going. I like this feeling." Oxytocin and vasopressin. These are sometimes referred to as the bonding hormones. They play a big role in social bonding, trust, and long-term attachment. Oxytocin in particular is released during intimate moments like hugging or, yes, sex, and fosters a sense of connection and closeness. Norepinephrine and adrenaline. These can cause the racing heart, sweaty palms, and even that feeling of butterflies in your stomach when you're near someone you're strongly attracted to. According to Fisher, whose book and research I reference in this episode, and I will in the future, as she has done extensive research in the field of attachment, these substances form a biochemical foundation for what we often label love at first sight, or that electric spark. What's interesting is how they can override some of our logical faculties. Ever done something you knew was a bad idea just because you were in love? Sure you have. Blame that on this love cocktail running through your veins. As I mentioned just now, Helen Fisher, a renowned anthropologist and human behavior researcher, has long argued that romantic love might be better categorized as a motivational system than an emotion. According to her, love is a drive, a wanting system that compels us to seek out and retain a favored partner. That's why heartbreak can feel so devastating. The drive goes into withdrawal. This ties into our broader theme of desire. Your brain is wired to want closeness, to seek a significant other, partly for evolutionary reasons. Think pair bonding, raising offspring, survival. Now, while understanding these chemicals can't take away the wonder of love, it does help explain why we sometimes see warning signs, but ignore them. During that first infatuation, with dopamine and norepinephrine fueling our feel-good illusions, it's easy to push common sense aside and claim, but this time, it's different. This brings me to the ever so popular attachment styles. Let's transition from our brain's chemistry to our heart's blueprint. Attachment theory, first proposed by John Bowlby in 1969, suggests that our earliest relationships with caregivers, usually our parents, lay the groundwork for how we form emotional bonds later in life. You can think of it as the script or template you carry into adulthood, your roadmap for what love and closeness should look like. Bowlby's work was primarily with children and their caregivers, but psychologists like Mary Ainsworth and later Cindy Hazen and Philip Shaver extended the concept to adult romantic relationships. The central premise is as follows. We develop an attachment style that influences how we behave in love. Now I will list the 3 basic styles they proposed. Secure attachment. These individuals tend to be comfortable with intimacy. They can give and receive love relatively easily and find relationships fulfilling with a healthy balance of togetherness and independence. Anxious attachment, characterized by a fear of rejection and a heightened sensitivity to cues of abandonment. Anxious individuals often crave closeness but worry their partner won't return their affection fully. Avoidant attachment. These people feel discomfort with deep intimacy. Avoidant individuals value independence and might check out emotionally when a relationship becomes too intense. You might be wondering, so how does that friend Lucy keep finding herself with the same type of partner who ultimately hurts her? According to Hazan and Shaver's research, individuals with anxious attachment often gravitate to avoidant types, unwittingly playing out this push-pull dynamic. The anxious partner's fear of abandonment meets the avoidant partner's fear of closeness. It's a potent seesaw of longing and distance, one that ironically can create strong passion, but is also riddled with conflict. On the other hand, a secure individual might quickly spot red flags in a potential partner's inconsistent behavior and walk away before the heartbreak intensifies. However, because anxious or avoidant folks sometimes equate unpredictability with excitement, they may mistake that sense of unease for deeper attraction. It's that adrenaline rush, similar to the physiological arousal we talked about earlier, blending with emotional closeness. So, next time you ask yourself, why do I keep picking the same type of person? Take a moment to reflect on your attachment script. You might be subconsciously drawn to what feels familiar, even if it's not healthy. I want to revisit biases and how they can create illusions in early romance. If you tuned in to my previous season, you may remember the discussion of cognitive biases. One that plays a massive role in romantic desire is the halo effect, the tendency to assume that if someone has one positive trait, say physical attractiveness or say great communication skills, they must possess a range of other wonderful qualities. Imagine you meet someone who's incredibly charming or physically appealing. Even if they exhibit some questionable behaviors, lack of punctuality, ignoring your messages, etc., your mind might gloss over those flaws because you're dazzled by their good looks or confident aura. According to Nisbet and Wilson, the halo effect can significantly skew our first impressions. In romantic contexts, this bias can be particularly powerful. We want to believe in the fantasy. We might label them as kind, successful, or good-hearted without substantial evidence, simply because they look the part or talk a certain way. Another bias is overconfidence. We often believe we're better judges of character than we actually are, or that we can single-handedly alter a problematic partner. This is where illusions of control creep in. Sure, they have a history of cheating, but I'm different. I can fix them. This mindset can lead us down a path of denial, ignoring escalating issues. Overconfidence might also manifest in the early stages of dating apps or social media. We assume we know someone based on curated photos and short bios on Insta, overestimating our ability to read between the lines. This illusions-based approach is one reason so many people report mismatched expectations once they meet offline. And there you have it, desire. Combine a dose of dopamine, an attachment style that might be hungry for affirmation, and a few cognitive biases, and you have the perfect storm for seeing what you want to see rather than what is. Desire can place rose-tinted glasses over our eyes. Here's an analogy. It's like walking into a room lit only by candlelight. Everything looks softer, warmer. You might not notice the scuffed furniture or peeling paint, but when the harsh morning light seeps in, you see the room as it really is, imperfections and all. In early romance, desire is that candlelight. We let it cloud our vision, focusing on the ideal rather than the reality. This isn't to say desire is a bad thing, far from it. Desire propels us to connect, to create bonds, and to experience some of life's greatest highs. However, being aware of these biases can save us from heartbreak and help us approach love with a balance of heart and mind. Now that we've explored the biochemical and psychological underpinnings, let's talk about some actionable takeaways. One of the best ways to avoid repeating unhelpful patterns is through self-reflection. Here's a short exercise you can try. Journal your past relationships. Write down the key traits of your last few partners. Be honest. What drew you to them initially? Which traits caused problems? Identify patterns. Circle the words that keep popping up. Is it jealousy or another negative pattern? Are you consistently drawn to people who are emotionally unavailable, overly dependent, super adventurous, but lacking stability? Name your attachment style. Reflect on your own patterns. Ask yourself, am I anxious, secure, or avoidant? If you're unsure, you can find many attachment style questionnaires online. For example, the Experiences in Close Relationship Scale, and I will attach it in the show's description. Check your assumptions. Make note of any illusions or biases you might have had. Did you assume your partner would change because you believed in your unique influence? Did you ignore red flags because they were physically attractive or shared a hobby with you? This reflection helps you see the hidden forces shaping your choices. It may be uncomfortable. Nobody likes to admit they're part of the reason for repeated heartbreak, but it's empowering to pinpoint what might be going on beneath the surface. Be honest with yourself and for yourself. Start conversations that matter. If you're currently in a relationship or dating someone seriously, honest communication can clarify mutual desires and align expectations. Here are a few conversation starters. What are your earliest memories of feeling loved or cared for? This can reveal your partner's attachment blueprint. How do you usually handle conflict, and what makes you feel unsupported? Great for understanding each other's triggers. What are your non-negotiables in a relationship? Helps set boundaries and fosters mutual respect. In our modern world, online dating has become not just an option, but a primary way people connect. A few guidelines. Know your intentions. Are you looking for a long-term relationship, casual dating, or friendship? Being clear up front helps filter out mismatches. And also align the expectations with each app's purpose. Tinder is for one thing, and Match is for another. Avoid overconfidence. Don't assume a perfect read on someone from their profile. Stay open-minded, but also watch for red flags like inconsistent communication or reluctant answers. Use the 3-date rule. It's not absolute, but often you get a more accurate sense of a person after 2 or 3 in-person meetings. If you're too quick to judge, you might miss out on a deeper connection or fall too hard before you really know them. Learn to identify healthy versus unhealthy attractions. Healthy attractions typically involve respect, mutual support, and consistency. Unhealthy attractions are often laced with drama, inconsistency, and disrespect. It is healthy when you can express feelings freely without fear of judgment. Boundaries are respected. There's mutual effort in communication. You feel safe, not on edge. It is unhealthy when emotional roller coasters become the norm. One partner consistently withholds affection or communication. Criticism is frequent, or you feel less than or not good enough. There's a cycle of great highs and severe lows with no resolution. Remember Lucy? She began recognizing the pattern of instant high-intensity attraction followed by chaos. Through therapy and self-reflection, she discovered she was anxious avoidant, deeply craving closeness but fearing it at the same time. That insight alone helped her take steps toward a healthier relationships. I've come a long way in this episode, covering how a potent chemical cocktail can woo us into magical infatuation, how attachment styles inform our recurring relationship patterns, and how cognitive biases like the halo effect and overconfidence can twist our perception of new romantic interests. But as with all aspects of desire, awareness is key. By understanding the neuroscience, psychology, and social factors behind attraction, you gain agency. You can choose partners with more clarity, and you can engage with your emotions without letting illusions completely steer the wheel. If there's one takeaway I'd like you to hold on to, it's this. Desire isn't just magic. It's a complex combination of biology, past experiences, and present choices. When you honor that complexity, you can channel your desire into more fulfilling, nourishing relationships. Before I wrap up, I'd like to give you a little teaser for our next episode. We'll be exploring how desire interacts with luxury, status, and exclusivity. Ever wondered why some people spend fortunes on designer labels or wait in line for exclusive clubs? Is it purely about impressing others, or is there a deeper psychological drive at play? We'll tackle those questions, discuss how desire for status can shape our identities, and connect it back to some surprising social science research. Thank you for joining me today, wherever you are. If you found this episode helpful, please consider sharing it with a friend or leaving a review. I'm always thrilled to hear your thoughts and experiences, so feel free to reach out on social media or via email. Until next time, I'm Ivana, wishing you deeper understanding, healthier desires, and a fulfilling journey in love and life. I will link all the studies and references in the show's description. If you found this discussion insightful, please consider sharing it with friends, family, or colleagues. Let's keep the conversation going about how we can make this affluent corner of Europe a healthier, more equitable place for everyone. Until next time, remember, your mind matters, and taking care of it is the best investment you'll ever make.